places. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Don't you forget, pressing the button can also be enjoyable for you.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk here on Sports Talk Media Network, coming to you from downtown Columbia. Phil Kornblum, Pat Daniel here. Chris Bergen joining us as well. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you here on Sports Talk tonight. Got another busy show for you, of course, as we catch up on a number of things and look ahead to things that are coming up, like in the baseball world. South Carolina got a win last night over Charleston Southern, took care of their business, but Clemson got hammered by the College of Charleston. We'll hear from both Monty Lee and Mark Kingston tonight. And the Gamecocks have already made their trip down to Baton Rouge, and they're working out this evening. They have a 3-game series with LSU beginning tomorrow night. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. In fact, the next 2 SEC series for the Gamecocks will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Arkansas coming in next week for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Clemson heading to Miami this weekend. Tigers they got a lot of issues. Their record is only a game over 500 right now overall. They are struggling offensively, struggling to come up with the big hit. And their pitching midweek has not been real good. Now, listening to Monty Lee last night, he feels good about how they set up for this Miami series and their starting pitching on Friday night. But the Tigers have got to start getting some wins under the belt because they're about to play themselves out of the NCAA tournament and putting themselves in a position where they're going to have to go win the ACC tournament in Charlotte to get in. So we'll have all that for you tonight. Also, Brent Thompson, Citadel football coach at 7:05. All of a sudden, the Bulldogs have found the winning formula late in this spring football season. They've won their last 2, and you know they had to be very satisfying wins against Wofford and against Furman, and they play at VMI to wrap up the spring season on Saturday. We'll talk with Coach Thompson about the rebound for his team, and they've had a lot of COVID issues. They've had opt-outs. It's been a long, hard year for them because, remember, they played in the fall as well. So they've played a large number of football games this season. And we've got news of a Gamecock basketball transfer in. James Reese V, who's a Columbia native. He's 6'4". He's out of AC Flora High School originally, and this will be his 4th stop in college. Originally went to Buffalo, transferred from Buffalo to Odessa Junior College in Texas, went from Odessa to North Texas. He was there 2 years. Of course, North Texas kind of became one of the darlings of the NCAA tournament when they beat Purdue in the opening round, and he had a good game. Twice in the NCAA tournament. So he spent 2 years at North Texas, and now he's coming back to South Carolina to play for Frank Martin and the Gamecocks as Frank Martin continues to reshape his roster. So 7 are departing at this point in time. 4 are coming in, and they are sitting right on the 13 scholarship number right now. But there'll be more departures, I would think. We're still waiting on A.J. Lawson to make his future plans known officially, and I would expect that he's going to put his name in the draft. And will he go ahead and put himself into the portal as well? I don't know about that, but it would seem, logically speaking, since he's done it twice before, that he's going to do that. And there may be others, and there may be others coming in. So Frank Martin is taking the approach of, I may have only one shot here to extend my stay at South Carolina, and I'm going to go out and bring in the best players that I can attract out of the portal to join us here at South Carolina and kind of go with a redo. And Chris, I mean, South Carolina is not the only one that's behaving that way in recruiting, and it's only going to get. I don't know if it can get worse. Worse is not the right word. It's not going away because the NCAA today, their council that had to decide on this issue, decided on the issue formally that now moving forward, athletes can have a one-time free transfer while they're in college. You can transfer one time without penalty. And then after that, of course, you'll face a penalty, but you'll have that one time. So the transfer portal is going to stay very, very busy. And, typically when the NCAA passes a rule that they think is a good rule and a helpful rule and positive for everybody, there are always unintended consequences that come out of it. And I'm thinking about this, Chris, and, with the way it is, the win now attitude that coaches have to, of course, approach everything with, the players that you recruit out of high school now, the guys that you actually recruit to bring into your program that you want to develop. We're talking football and basketball here. I mean, the security blanket is just not going to be there for those guys, because if you come into a program and you're not producing, let's say, you're not developing fast enough, you're leaving a hole in the roster because you're just not performing. I mean, they're going to go to the transfer portal and fill that spot with somebody who's gone and played somewhere and proven themselves. And they're going to, without the penalty, they can come in and play right away, take your spot. There's going to be a lot of players going into the portal, not by their own choosing, because coach is going to be pushing them into the portal. It's happening now. I think it's going to even get worse from that standpoint.
I would agree with you. Phil, I would. Uh-oh.
Nope. We're having a little delay issue, I think, with this headset. Get that set up there, Chris, and we'll come back to you. We're having a little delay issue with the headset. Sounds like it. I think he hears himself twice, and he'll get with us in just a second. That's my thought about it. I think that while it gives more freedom to the players, and that's what the players have been squawking about, among many things, the people that speak for the players, that's just one of many things that they've been squawking about. There's the payment side of things. There's the freedom side of things. I just wonder where it's going to end. Players now in college have more freedom than professional athletes do. A professional athlete, I mean, yeah, he can walk out of a contract, I guess, and he can break his contract. But under the rules in the pro leagues, you can't go sign with another team if you're under contract with somebody else. You just can't do it. Now, you can be traded, or you can be cut, or you can be waived, things like that at the team's discretion. But you just can't up and walk out on your contract and not face consequences. College athletes, for some reason, are of a mindset that they should have that freedom. And, of course, they want to be paid. They want to be paid like the pros. So, I mean, I don't know where this is going to end. Probably not going to end well for those of us who believe in college sports the way it's always been. Probably not going to end well from that standpoint. So they're now going to have the opportunity to transfer a single time without penalty, and there's going to be, there's going to continue to be, I'm sure, thousands. If we've got over 1,000 in the transfer portal just for basketball, I mean, imagine what it would be like for football and for baseball, for that matter. Though you don't see that many, you don't really see that many baseball players up in transfer. Not that I've noticed. They seem to be, baseball players seem to be set with the situation that they've got. They seem to be pretty happy with the fact that they could have, if they were good enough, they could have gone professional out of high school and made the money. They chose to go to college. They chose to follow the rules that are in place, and they seem satisfied with that. So we'll get Chris's thoughts on that in a moment once we make sure we've got him squared away. Phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. Give us a call. Love to get your thoughts about this now rule that's in place for college. It's not just talk anymore. It's a reality. And it's a major change as the NCAA is, trying to do everything it can to remain relevant. And to remain relevant, the NCAA must believe that it's got to just give and give and give in as many ways as possible without totally caving in. They haven't caved in totally yet, but And they're certainly heading in that direction. So we've got that to talk about tonight, plus everything else that we have put out there for you. And there's college baseball tonight. Coastal Carolina is playing UNC Wilmington. They're just underway, and they are scoreless. Boy, Coastal, they got hit by COVID, which shut them down for a while, and then they've been on a road trip. This is I think, their 8th or 9th straight game on the road. So they've taken their punches here a little bit, but they're playing Wilmington tonight and trying to see if they can get back on the right foot and get a W tonight against Wilmington. We're seeing here that former Mississippi State guard Davon Smith, good player, he's transferring to Georgia Tech. All right, so that's another one that's on the move. That's the thing. I don't walk in the shoes of these players, so I really don't know what's in their minds. But when you're a good player at a big-time program, like an SEC program, like a Mississippi State, and you're a major contributor and a big-time player, why would you transfer? I mean, you've been with the coach. He's been with the coach there, I guess, a few years, and you've been at the school. You're down the road towards your degree. Now, I don't know if this kid is a grad student or not, but I'm just seeing the transfer information here. But I just think some people are transferring just for the heck of transferring. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me to see some people transfer who are players, who are contributors in their schools, and getting an opportunity to make a name for themselves there, but they up and transfer, and we're seeing where the players are transferring like multiple times. I mentioned the one that South Carolina is getting today, James Reese. This will be his 4th stop. This will be his 3rd Division I school, Buffalo, North Texas, and South Carolina, along with a JUCO. I saw one kid who's transferred like 7 times when you work in the junior colleges and the D1 programs. I mean, it's borderline insanity when you think about it. All right, we'll hit the phones when we come back. 888-898-2525 is the number. What do you think about this decision? We'll be right back.
The lady in black doesn't age. She just gets tougher. And Throwback Weekend is when she likes to remind all the friends, families, drivers, and dreamers just how they got here. Business up front and parties in the back. Over 70 years of history held together with one famous black stripe. Too tough to tame? I guess you'll have to find out. Darlington Throwback Weekend, May 7th through 9th. Get your tickets at darlingtonraceway.com.
South Carolina, just right.
Membership with the Founders Federal Credit Union is a slam dunk. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 locations to see if you qualify for membership. Relax with Founders. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Player practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
If you're looking for a great weekend escape, make for Santee, South Carolina and Clark's Inn and Restaurant. Santee provides the perfect backdrop for recreation and adventure. Clark's provides the perfect backdrop for relaxation. Just minutes from Santee Cooper Lakes and 3 championship championship golf courses, Clark's Inn and Restaurant is a short drive from wherever you are in the Palmetto State. Since 1946, the Clark's Hospitality has been making Santee easy to find, but hard to leave. Visit clarksonandrestaurant.com today.
Enjoy life to the fullest with tasty peanuts that pack a lot of flavor. When it comes to eating peanuts, the research is clear. Peanuts improve your health. Peanuts, a snack that gives back. Crack some open today for a nutritious, sustainable, and earth-friendly treat. Be sure to stop by your local grocery store produce section to pick up a bag of roasted in-shell peanuts. Brought to you by the South Carolina Peanut Board. Visit aboutpeanuts.com for delicious peanut-based recipes.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history, and with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo, 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
All right, and good evening, Mr. Bergen. How are you?
I am well, sir.
There you
Apologize
go.
for that.
No,
Yeah, how about that?
not your problem. It's it's gremlins. Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you, man. Every so often, I guess everybody has computer issues. It took me, and I've got a relatively new computer, and I don't abuse it. It took 4 hours to get my computer to boot up today. I'm telling you, and I was lost. You know what I did? I went and cut the yard because I couldn't work. I couldn't get the darn thing to boot up.
Grass, Phil. I've got grass that is growing. If you ever get that bored again, Florence is only an hour away. I've got a lawnmower. I'll get you some water afterwards. I'll be more than happy to take care of it.
You got a writer?
I do not.
Oh, well.
I actually still push my yard. Of course, I don't have the palatial corn blue to state either. So
I was totally helpless. I could not get the computer to boot up. And I just sat there and I watched the little thing. You know how it is. You sit there and you watch that little thing go round and round and round and round. Drove me crazy. So real quick, now that we got you, your comments on what the NCAA Council, the Division I Council, has done, the one-time free transfer rule. Looks like for the fall and winter sports, you have a May 1 deadline to enter the portal, and spring athletes have a July 1 deadline to gain the immediate eligibility. What do you think this is going to mean?
I found it curious as you were describing what the NCAA rule is, and the only thing that kept coming to my mind when you were talking about how rosters may shift and change, and if you're not performing, you may enter the transfer portal because someone else may take your spot. It sounded like professional sports. And Phil, I think that's the direction we're headed, whether or not the NCAA wants that or not. And you talked about the laws of unintended consequences. Remember, 20, 30 years ago when the NCAA felt it was unnecessary for athletic departments to have athletic dorms because at one point in time they felt that was an extra benefit that the athletes got that the normal student body did not get. How much do you think they would have enjoyed having athletic dorms this past year with regards to COVID? I realize that's a once in a hopefully lifetime pandemic that we're dealing with, but you see my point there, and I think that is something that we're going to have here. And I'd be more curious to start talking to college coaches when you're recruiting. Do you still look at high school players first, or are now you starting to look at the transfer portal and then you fill in with high school players as opposed to the way we've all known it to be, that we recruit high school first and then we fill the slots with, say, junior college players or a transfer here or there?
Here's the other thing.
I think we're entering a totally new realm of recruiting.
Here's the other thing, too, Chris, and that is the trust factor. You know, in the past, when a college recruited you out of high school and you committed and you signed, it was pretty much understood that, you know, you're going to be there for 4 years, barring some behavioral issue or something like that. If you wanted to transfer, you could transfer, but you'd have to sit out. And that was a way, that rule was in place to try to discourage that. But it was still allowed, and it made a lot of sense. I mean, you know, you have to sit out a year. Okay, well, you pay a penalty for that. The trust factor here is going to be gone both ways, because you might recruit a guy and you bring him into your program, and after a year or maybe 2, he's got that free year to transfer. He's like, I'm out of here. You know, I don't like you anymore. I don't like a teammate, or I don't, whatever the case may be. I think I can go be a star somewhere else. Boom, I'm gone. So the trust factor between the college coach and the high school player who you're recruiting into your program, I mean, that's out the window. And conversely, like I mentioned at the outset, the high school player who's recruited in, he's there a year or 2. If he's not developing enough, you know, now he's going to, you want to transfer, Billy? Go right ahead. I got somebody in the transfer portal that I noticed, and we're going to bring him in and fill your spot. So, again, the whole relationship issue between coach and player, both ways, I think is going to be in jeopardy. And maybe it's not important anymore. You know, look what Frank Martin's doing at South Carolina. He's basically, players are leaving. 7 have departed, and he's just going to the transfer portal and just basically rebuilding a roster for maybe a 1-year run at things. And maybe that's the wave of the future. Maybe every year you just rework your roster by going into the transfer portal.
Well, I would be curious to hear from Gamecock fans, excuse me, Tiger fans, any college fan right now. Is that important to you? Do you care if you recruited Phil Kornblut out of high school and Phil was going to stay at your favorite school for 4 years? Or do you not care if the roster turns over every year?
That's a very bad example.
just because you're successful. Would you rather win 20 games of basketball every year, regardless of who's on your team, if it changes every year, but you know you're going to be successful and potentially 1 or 2 of those 4 years you're going to make the NCAA tournament? Football, same way.
Yeah.
Would you prefer to win 9, 10, 11 games, or would you like to actually build some loyalty with your fan base and with your team, knowing these players, like, say, Trevor Lawrence, let's use him for an example. Would you like to have him there for 3 years before he moves on, or did it matter if Trevor moved on and they brought in another quarterback at Clemson? Did it matter just as long as you kept winning? I don't know how fans are going to start feeling about this. Is it, if my team is winning, I don't care who's on the roster, or do you actually like to have a relationship where you can build some loyalty and some fan interest in guys sticking around 3 and 4 years?
Well, let me give you an example. Kentucky basketball fans don't seem to care.
No,
I mean, there's no team in the country, I don't think, since the one and done became preeminent, where the turnover of the roster has been more extreme, and their fans still love their program and their fans still support their program. They love winning, and they love winning championships, and they expect championships at Kentucky. They don't expect anything less. And if you have to remake the roster every year, as long as it's with guys who are among the top, 10 players, 20 players in the country, one and done type players, I think they're all for it. Is that the mindset of everybody else? Probably going to be that way. I mean, I think if you ask Clemson and Carolina fans, if you had to reset your roster every year, but you got to the NCAA tournament every year by doing so, or you got to the football playoffs by doing so. But I think, I don't know, it seems easier for basketball because basketball can change on a dime with the right player or two. In football, I mean, you get the right quarterback, but there's a lot more moving parts in football that have to come together than basketball, I think. So, all right, we'll get to your phone calls. I apologize. I wanted to get Bergie's take on this. I'll get to your phone calls after the break. 888-898-2525 is the number. Braves tonight, losers last night again, and they'll be taking on Miami again tonight. Charlie Morton going to the mound for the Braves. The Braves are 4-7. Miami is 4-6. Adding to my woes today, the Yankees got beat on a walk-off homer in the ninth. That didn't make me happy at all, along with my computer. We'll be back after the break.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. That's 800-380-4452.
Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. NATO Chief Jens Stoltenberg says the alliance has agreed to withdraw its roughly 7,000 non-American forces from Afghanistan to match U.S. President Joe Biden's decision to pull all American troops from the country starting on May 1st. Stoltenberg says the full withdrawal will be completed within a few months, but is not mentioning the 20th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attack set as a goal by Biden. Stoltenberg revealed the decision Wednesday shortly after Biden formally announced his plans and after meeting with Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin at NATO headquarters in Brussels. There are between 7,000 and 7,500 non-U.S. NATO troops currently in Afghanistan. On Wall Street, the Dow by 53 points, but the Nasdaq dropped 138. More details at srnnews.com.
Spring is more than pollen season. It also means it's termite season. Palmetto Exterminators offers a free inspection at your home to determine any possible issues. Palmetto Exterminators offers the best termite agreement anywhere, but they do so much more. They offer complete pest control, mosquito control, wildlife trapping and removal, and nobody, I mean nobody, can offer you more peace of mind at your home or business. Now, how do I know that? Well, I never tell you to use someone like Palmetto Exterminators unless I practice what I preach. I've been a customer for 19 years, and they are wonderful. My guy, Ron Byers, and his team over at Palmetto Exterminators, they've looked after my family forever. We have no pest control issues whatsoever. But if we did, all it takes is one phone call, and Palmetto Exterminators will fix it. It's pretty simple. Call Palmetto Exterminators and cross pest control right off your list of concerns. Online, it's palmettoexterminators.net, or give my guy Ron a call, 254-5833.
Oh, good, you're home. I need your help.
Doing what?
Replacing our old light bulbs with these new energy-efficient LEDs.
Where did you get these?
Dominion Energy. I ordered direct from their online store. LEDs for every room, all at huge discounts.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. And my 15-bulb order got us free shipping.
Sounds too good to be true.
See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hey, Tiger fans, this is head coach Dabo Sweeney, and I'm excited to let you know it is time to reserve your 2021 Clemson football season tickets and come back home to Clemson. For details and more information, please visit ClemsonTigers.com/football tickets. The season ticket request deadline is April 30th, so be sure and act soon so you can see our Tigers in the Valley this fall. Come back home to Clemson and go Tigers.
Have you walked around your own home lately? I mean, it is your most valuable financial asset. Have you spotted any cracks in the home's foundation? Now, if you have, don't panic. You call TerraTech instead. Why am I so comfy recommending TerraTech? Well, they check off all the boxes that matter to me. First, they're local. They're family-owned in the Midlands for more than 38 years. More than 10,000 homeowners, just like you and just like me, have trusted TerraTech to restore their homes. TerraTech combines their collective experience of over 150
I wanted
years of
to show off
professional
my
service
my
in the
PGA
foundation
Championship
repair
shirt
industry,
that I'm wearing
along
today
with utilizing
from when it was at
state-of-the-art
Clay Hollow.
products and solutions. TerraTech fixes foundations. They also repair or build retaining walls. They install French drains, and they offer free inspections and repair quotes. They stand by their work, and they can be trusted with protecting your home. And hey, if you don't want to take my word for it, they're also A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Find them online, TerraTechInc.com, or call TerraTech 791-8888.
Phone number here on Sports Talk, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Did you know that since 2002, more than $4.2 billion in lottery proceeds have been used to fund scholarships and grants for South Carolina students? Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at seeducationlottery.com/education wins, and playing for fun is a win for education. A couple of quick things. SEC Women's Golf Championship underway today. Man, oh man, they're playing in Birmingham, Greystone Golf and Country Club. LSU and USC tore it up today as teams, minus 16 for both of them. Mississippi State, minus 13. Auburn, 9 under. Ole Miss, 9 under. Florida, 9 under. And Arkansas, 9 under. Top of the leaderboard there. So conditions must have been very, very nice. The Gamecocks, that's what happens when you are thinking Anna and you're trying to say Gamecocks. It comes out as Gamecocks. The Gamecocks, Anna Pelaez, shot an 8 under 64 today. That's some good playing there, Chris.
That's incredible. The word I think you were looking for is benign conditions today.
Must have been.
Clearly everybody was lighting it up. That's impressive.
Brooke Matthews of Arkansas and Alden Wallace of LSU, they are at 6 under. And Pauline Lucine Bouchard, USC's number 1 player, one of the top players in the world, 67 today. So she's a T4 at 5 under. So a great start there. We'll keep a close watch on all that as it plays out. And, of course, tomorrow we have got the beginning of the RBC Heritage at Harbortown. We'll be on top of that. ACC Women's Golf Championship begins tomorrow. The Big South Women's Golf Championship being played up at the Patriot at Grand Harbor at 96. Love that golf course. Fun golf course. Campbell, your leader at 7 under. They've played 2 rounds, and Campbell is 7 under. Upstate is second at +3, and Charleston Southern sits in 5th at +17. Winthrop is T6 at +18. Presbyterian would be 10th at +34. And Beam Pabsima from Upstate, she's in second place at 3 under behind Anna Nordfors of Campbell. Okay, there you go with that. Pretty exciting stuff. 888-898-2525. Sorry for the wait. The folks on hold, been a bunch of you there. So we go to Dave in Lexington. First up tonight. Dave, good to have you with us. Welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, Phil.
Hey.
I like the one transfer rule, but what's going to stop? I mean, because everybody might make a mistake or their position coach leaves, but what's going to keep the attorneys from, allowing 2 and 3 because somebody in the stands yelled something that offended you, or their third cousin's wife got COVID, so they need to be closer to home. So, nobody's ever stopped that. So what's going to prevent that?
Yeah. So what you're
Number
suggesting
2,
is you're suggesting that the one time won't be a one time, that it will be challenged to where there'll be multiple free transfers.
Exactly. I mean, it never stopped them before, even with the no time. So, I don't know. Anyways, they're screwing up college athletics as we know it. They're destroying it. And like you say, this whole transient thing. I quit watching basketball because it's so one and done. That's just so ridiculous. I mean, the days of Bobby Hurley, Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, all growing up, you getting to watch them for years and years play Las Vegas. I just love the sport. I love, everything about it. Now I could care less.
Well, that's my point, Dave, to these people who want instant success, instant chance. Is this really, truly, for those who are pining for paying the athletes, is this really what you want for college athletes? I mean, think about it. Is it really what you want? And I think if people were being honest, those who have loved college athletics for all these years, I would think if they were being honest, they would say no. But they're willing to roll with the tide here. But I think that, like you, I think it's going to create a whole different league for college athletes. Especially if they start to pay them, on a like they are professional athletes beyond the name, image, and likeness stuff. If they just start drawing paychecks, you're talking about a whole different world.
Phil, yeah, and that goes to my last point. I mean, that's just going to turn me off completely. I mean, it's no longer amateur sports. If they want minor leagues and these billion-dollar leagues like the NBA, the NFL, they can afford minor leagues. If a kid does not value an education, they shouldn't go to school. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Go to these leagues. Get paid $1 million signing bonus and riding some sweaty, bus from little league field to little league field. But the ones that do, they should stop all scholarships, all stipends. If you want to come to school, great. If you're a name that you can make enough money off of your name, image, and likeness, or your Instagram account, good. Pay for your school, but do it like all of us did. Get loans, get student loans. Be proud to wear the jersey, and we would follow our sports and our teams regardless of if they're 5 stars or if they're 3 stars. As long as they're team players, I think just do away with all scholarships and just say, everybody's, make all the money you want. It's free for all, but, we're not going to subsidize you anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you. And thank you for your call. Bergie, what do you think? I think Dave makes a lot of sense for those of us who want to see college sports remain the model that it is. College sports, the leadership, they're going to have to, if they want to keep it like it has been and not become a professional league, they're going to have to swallow deeply their pride and also their bank accounts and realize, we're going to have to let the big time players coming out of high school who have the skills and the desire to go play professionally and no interest in going to college. There's got to be a way, an avenue for them to go get that, because you can't give them that in college and stay the college model, And if everybody's recruiting from the same pool of the same type players, they may not be the 5-star people who are coming to college who are good enough to go play pro right away, but they'll still be good enough to play at a level higher than high school and better than you and me sitting in the stands, which is all we want to see. I want to see players who were better than me. Okay. And that's basically 99.9% of those out there playing ball today. If you're good enough to go pro, go pro. But if you want to go to college and get an education, you're still going to be better than the rest of us, and it will still be good sports.
First of all, if the NCAA ever has a commissioner of college athletics, I hope Dave puts his name into the hat. I thought his call was spot on. And the one thing, Dave, don't totally get rid of basketball from your viewing, because if you look at the 2 teams that made it to the finals this year, both Baylor and Gonzaga, those were older teams that had stayed together. So there is some value to having players stick around 1, 2, 3 years. Take South Carolina when they advanced to the Final Four a couple of years ago. That was a relatively old team that had been around and been together for a couple of seasons. But I have had discussions with athletic administrators, and I'm sure you have as well, Phil. The one thing that we're missing with regards to the NLI in particular, and the amount of money that is being pumped in to college athletics that the student athletes want a piece of, is all the other things that are never brought up in terms of value. First of all, how much value is the experience itself of being a collegiate athlete? Like travel overseas, travel around the country, flying not first class, but certainly getting out. some of the meals and some of the places we stay, I would
we talk about the seven, and I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but then we also talk about, well, the disparity between Trevor Lawrence and the backup long snapper. Well, that's going to create turmoil in the locker room. Okay, well, say the backup long snapper only earns a couple $1,000s. You don't think they're going to want a couple $1,000s as a broke college kid? I mean, a couple $1,000s may be less than the million Trevor Lawrence is earning, but that's still a couple $1,000s that they didn't have previously. So I just don't quite understand that argument.
All right, good points. Good points, all. I mean, look, there is no absolute right answer here. You know, I believe what I believe. Bergie believes what he believes. You believe what you believe. The millions of fans out there individually believe. The columnists believe what they believe. You know, I just want things a certain way. Being greedy about it as a college sports fan, I want it a certain way. You know, I'm not going to get my way, and I'm just going to have to learn to live with it, as we all are.
Well, Phil, I want to jump in real quick if I've got a second to follow up on your point about Barkley Radeball at Charleston Southern. He needs those players to beat Winthrop to be able to qualify for the NCAA tournament. And I'll give you another great example. Michael Flowers, who was leading scorer in the Sun Belt at South Alabama. Richie Riley brings him in, develops the team around him. He's transferring out to Washington State for his final year of college eligibility.
Yep. It's tough, man. You're at that level, but they just have to grin and bear it. You know, they can't say anything negative about the kid, and they probably don't feel that bad about it. I mean, Barkley's been professional in both of these cases where these players have made high-profile transfers. He's praised them, said they'll be Bucks for life, credits them for, you know, becoming these big-time players. But, you know, deep inside, it's got to hurt because he wants to win. He wants to win. All these coaches that lose, he's not the only one. You know, PC has lost players. They've all lost players. And of course, the people where these players land, their schools welcome them with open arms. I mean, Alabama feels great. They got Noah Gurley from Furman. Well, Furman's become a mid-major power, but yet they lose a key player. Now, in some cases, I will say, you know, it is the grad transfer situation. I can't speak for all these different things, you know, because like the kid at North Dakota who South Carolina's been talking to, he's a international player. He has to transfer because of the rules. The United States has a law that says you're an international student, you have to take at least one class in a classroom to stay at that school while you're an international student. Well, at North Dakota, what he wants to major in, which is he wants to get his master's in business, they don't offer that in the classroom setting, only online. So he's got to go someplace where he can take that class, those classes in person, not online, to be able to stay. So there are some reasons for these things, and I get it. Okay, we got a lot of people holding on. So we go to Hank in Columbia next. Okay, Hank, welcome to Sports Talk. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine, Phil.
Yes, sir.
I hear all your arguments from the standpoint of college and being greedy, but greed is what got them to this place. Back when we were in school years ago, games came on at 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock on Saturdays. There was rarely, if ever, a Thursday night game. If it was a Thursday night game, it was like around Thanksgiving or some kind of holiday, especially. Now you got schools playing games on Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and all of it because of the mighty dollar of TV.
Oh yeah.
So you can't look at it as the athletes are the only ones kind of being greedy about this, because it only aroused because of the NCAA. And the NCAA would not let go of selling the jerseys, and the minute the championship is crowned, they already got the school name on it, with sometimes with the player name on it going out. So that's what's put you in that point. A lot of people will say that, but a lot of people talk about the education standpoint of it, which I believe in. But how many times have we heard of these athletes, great athletes, like Deuce Staley and these folks who played, and when their pro career is over, the college or school wants to hire them back and find out they never graduated, or graduated in a career that surely wasn't something they were ever going to be interested in playing, but may have been steered toward that career because it's been easier to keep them eligible.
Yep.
So there's both sides of it.
Do not disagree about that. Listen, there is no shortage of greed on the college side. They have sold their soul to television, and I've talked about this going back to the mid-1980s when they had the lawsuits brought by Georgia and others that created, what was it, the College Football Association, the CFA. that started to create all these various TV outlets when you only had one or two televised games on a Saturday. You're exactly right. And, the appetite for college sports and the appetite for college sports on television was enormous. And television was the farm that could feed those appetites and create the food to feed those appetites by virtue of televising, everything possible. Now, everything in college is either live television or streamed. And even things that you would never have thought of in the past that people would want to sit back and watch. Of course, it's basically now, many of these streams are basically for friends and family. You want to watch, I don't know, a lacrosse match or a volleyball game or whatever. It's for the friends and family back home to be able to see you. But the point is, it's everywhere. And the colleges, they saw the television networks as the golden goose. And the TV networks were like, that's fine with me, but you know what? We own you. And we are the ones. Remember the days when it used to be that the schools would set their schedules and we would find out from the schools that, okay, we're going to play these games on these dates at these times? I mean, that's all handled now through television. They make the calls on all that. The schools are definitely the tail on this dog, okay? And they're not wagging the dog, okay? But they're happy to get that check. You know what a big day it is in the spring when the spring meetings are held and they announce how much money they're getting from their TV contracts. That's a big point of sticking the old chest out and saying, look at us, look how much money we're making from it. So I guess you can't have it both ways, can you, Hank?
No, that's what I'm saying. This name and likeness thing came about because of that. And because of all these contracts and stuff, you went away. Back when we were in school, you would see athletes have 2 or 3 months off during the year, and you see them working at the local Staples or down at the local, or either roaming around. Now, these athletes are up at 5 in the morning. They weightlifting for 2 hours. They work out for another 3 or 4 hours. They go to class.
But they love it. They do love the work.
But they're doing it all the way through the year. Everybody talks about athletes getting the scholarship money, but they don't talk about that daily grind of work. How many athletes have quit the sport because they realize college athletics was just too much for them?
Yeah. Hey, we got to run. We'll pick up on this on the other side. In fact, Brent Thompson will be a good person to talk to about all this as well because he's got to deal with it at the Citadel. That's coming up after the break.
Weekdays from 7 to 9 on The Point. It's Kev and Brian in the morning. The news, the traffic 4 times an hour, and your daily forecast. Topics to wake you up, topics to make you smile and laugh. Hope you'll join us.
The Point. The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. President Biden is withdrawing U.S. troops from Afghanistan beginning on May 5th, anniversary of the terrorist attacks on the United States. President Biden says the U.S. must now focus on a broader threat.
We'll be much more formidable to our adversaries and competitors over the long term if we fight the battles for the next 20 years, not the last 20.
But South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham says President Biden's decision is the worst possible outcome.
With all due respect to President Biden, you have not ended the war, you have extended it. You have made it bigger, not smaller. You're going to do to us what you did in Iraq, put us in a world of hurt.
Right now, the U.S. troop presence in Afghanistan stands at roughly 2,000. A former Minnesota police officer has been charged in the fatal shooting of a black motorist.
Former Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police officer Kim Potter has been charged with second-degree manslaughter in the fatal shooting of 20-year-old black motorist Dante Wright. The shooting ignited days of unrest. Potter and Brooklyn Center Police Chief Tim Gannon both resigned Tuesday. Attorney Benjamin Crump, who represents Wright's family, reacted to the charge.
The family of Dante Wright will get to have their day in court.
The shooting occurred Sunday during a traffic stop as Wright was pulled over for expired tags, and officers sought to make an arrest after discovering he had an outstanding warrant. I'm Mike Gracia.
Federal prosecutors won't charge a police officer who shot and killed a woman as she climbed through the broken part of a door during the riot at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Authorities had considered for months whether criminal charges were appropriate for the Capitol police officer who fatally shot Ashley Babbitt, a 35-year-old Air Force veteran from San Diego. On Wall Street, the Dow by 53 points, the Nasdaq dropped 138, the S&P 500 lower by 16. More on these stories at townhall.com.
A heart attack? He was 47. What about Janice and the kids? Do they have life insurance?
No. Call SelectQuote now and get the insurance your family needs at a price you can afford.
In minutes, SelectQuote found John, 45, in excellent health, a $500,000 policy for only $29 a month. And his wife Ann, 43, in excellent health, a $500,000 policy for only $21 a month.
At SelectQuote, we comparison shop some of the most trusted insurance companies in America to find you the best rate in minutes. And it's free.
For your free quote, call 1-800-644-1331. That's 1-800-644-1331. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-644-1331.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
At a news conference, San Luis Obispo District Attorney Dan Dow says 2 men have been charged related to the disappearance and death of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo student Kristen Smart nearly 25 years ago.
These charges mark a major milestone. For more than 2 decades, 3 sheriffs, 3 district attorneys, and countless investigators have worked to bring justice to Kristen Smart.
Dow says the story of Kristen Smart has touched so many people.
The story of her enthusiastic spirit, her experience as a Cal Poly college student, her wonderful family. Her story has filled us all with determination, and as her family has long become a part of our community.
44-year-old Paul Flores was taken into custody along with his 80-year-old father in the case. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
WQXL Columbia, W264DM.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Please press button now. No, that number's bigger than the one I said.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Great phone calls, great conversation the first hour about the transfer rule. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it going to hurt? NLI, pay the players. Going to talk about that some more here coming up in just a moment. Let me update the baseball for you. We got some local baseball going on. Citadel, in fact, is playing Jacksonville right now, trailing 2-0 at home. And Coastal Carolina is playing Wilmington, trailing 2-0 at Wilmington in the 4th. Citadel games in the 5th. NC State's leading North Carolina A&T 5-0 in the 4th. Arkansas 17-1 over Pine Bluff. It's in the 5th. They should go with the 10-run rule there. Miami beat Florida Gulf Coast 3-2. Okay, so you're up to date there. Give you the Major League Baseball deal. Braves and Marlins coming up in about 15 minutes. Boston leading Minnesota 4-1, top of the 5th. Padres and Pirates scoreless, top of the 2nd. We have your finals of, as I mentioned, heartbreaking loss for the Yankees today. Heartbreaking. Walk-off home run, bottom of the 9th. They lose to Toronto 5-4. Washington shut out St. Louis 6-0. Milwaukee over the Cubs 7-0. That's final. Kansas City beat the Angels 6-1. Doubling my pain, the Red Sox beat Minnesota 3-2. And San Francisco over Cincinnati 3-0. So I've had a terrible day in baseball. Whenever the Red Sox win, that's bad enough, and then the Yankees lose. That's just double the pain. Let's welcome in Brent Thompson, head football coach at the Citadel. Do you feel my pain?
Phil, I absolutely feel your pain. I'm a New Yorker at heart, so I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, they lose on a walk-off home run that I think the wind blew it out. Of course, they're playing in that minor league park down in Dunedin, the Yankees and the Blue Jays. It just really – but Judge did hit 2 home runs today, so that's a good thing. I hope you're doing well. It's good to have you with us.
Yeah, I'm doing better. We're moving along. We're into our final game, but I didn't even know if we would get to spring season, and here we are. We're at the final game of the season. And the other thing is that at one point we didn't know if we were going to be able to finish the season.
Yeah.
And, the kids have come a long way. We've fought through a lot of different adversity going into the season, and then just persevering through the season was tough.
You have had a wild ride. I mean, people might not remember, but you guys were able to play football back in the fall. And you played South Florida, and you played Clemson, and you played Eastern Kentucky, and you played West Point, you played Army. You played 4 games in the fall. Actually played Army a heck of a game up there, as I recall. So you've had a lot of football under your belt since going back to August, and you're still playing football now.
It has. It's been a lot of football, and it's been 2 different teams. The team that we had in the fall, and the whole reason why we wanted to play in the fall was because I was graduating quite a big class. I mean, we ended up having about 23 or 24 guys that were going to graduate in that class. Some of those guys ended up opting out. Some of those guys didn't finish the season with us. And then some of those guys went and finished, and they graduated in December. Brandon Rainey, my quarterback, was one of those guys. Sean Thomas Fulton, my starting safety. So we actually ended up starting with just about a whole new team. By the time we had senior day against Furman last weekend, we were graduating 4 players.
Wow.
So there's good and bad to that. The good news is we've got a lot of young guys that have gotten 7 games and going into their 8th game of experience. And then we also have guys that are planning on returning that didn't get a full year or what they thought was a full team year. So Willie Eubanks is going to return for us. Hayden Haas is going to return for us. And our starting centers, who's Hayden is. And then Raleigh Webb, our starting wide receiver. So all those guys are returning. Plus, we've had a few other things that have happened along the way, a couple of opt-outs, a couple of guys that were suspended for the spring, and then all of our recruits. So we're really looking forward to next year. We use this as a complete developmental year, and we saw the progress. Right now we're feeling good at where we're at and make a good run at VMI this weekend.
Sure.
Citadel head coach Brent Thompson with us tonight on Sports Talk. And Coach, you referenced it momentarily, but I'm curious how you handled the transition from after the Army game on October the 10th, and you did not play again until February 27th. How did you handle those couple of months with your football team, knowing that you were going to have a spring season, so you couldn't necessarily have the winter workouts I would imagine you normally did? So what did your team do during the holidays to get ready for the spring portion of your schedule?
Well, it was tough. It was challenging. So immediately right after that, we finished right in the middle of October. We took a week off, and then we came back and we trained all the way up to Thanksgiving. So we got a good solid 4 or 5 weeks worth of training in there. The goal of that training was to kind of reconvene the guys, get them back going again. We did some winter workout type of activities. Really, we were just trying to get back as a team again more than anything else. A couple of guys had decided to graduate. A couple of guys had opted out. We're bringing those guys back in. Unfortunately, at that point, we didn't come back from school from November, from Thanksgiving break, all the way through till the middle part of January. So they got about an 8 weeks layoff. And then we had 1 week to train them, get them back going again before we started our spring fall camp, so to speak. So we are not in any sort of great shape right now.
Yeah.
Some of our sophomores haven't trained like a normal sophomore would have trained because of the summertime of last year. Our freshmen obviously haven't been there. So we're not in great shape right now, but what we really need to do is get a win this week, propel ourselves into the off season, come back about mid-June after about 6 or 7 weeks off ourselves, recoup, recover, reconvene all those rest of those guys, and prepare for next year, which next year can be really exciting for us.
Yeah, what is it though? I mean, look, you guys suffered a lot of defeats here and close ones. Once again, we've talked to you over the years about, my goodness, you play games so close, and your margin of victory or loss is so small. A touchdown here and a field goal there, overtime. You played a lot of close games once again, and it finally clicked for you. You beat Wofford. Now Wofford was dealing with some issues, and they shut down their program for the year after you played them, and then you beat Furman pretty solidly last weekend at your place. I know that was a sweet win for you, the big rivalry game. So what's kind of clicked here the last couple of times out, and maybe gives you some hope going in this VMI game on Saturday?
Well, number one is the belief that we can win. And the way that we won the Wofford game is we were down 24-7 in that game at one point. And to us, it was an opportunity for us to we were going to go one of two directions at that point. We were either going to rise up, and give ourselves a chance here in the third and the fourth quarter to win the game, which we did, or we were going to suffer a defeat like by 7 points or 6 points like we had in the past. And they didn't. To the kids' credit, they hung together. They stuck it out there. They weren't going to lose to Wofford. We had lost all the way up since 16. We hadn't beaten Wofford. So those guys they got it in themselves that they were going to win that football game. And then last week it was great. I mean, we got a win at home against a rival team, and we played extremely well. I thought we played really, really well on defense. We were chewing the clock on offense, and we got two really big special teams plays. We got a block punt, and we got a turnover on a kickoff. So those two led to about 13 points. So we were opportunistic on offense as well to be able to score there. Really what it comes down to is, you say we've got all those close games, and we do. We play a lot of close games. Our kids, we got to play over our heads. We understand who we are. We understand that we may not have the best talent at the field. In order for us to win and compete every single day, we got to go out and play above our heads. We got to win those close ones, though. We got to find a way to win them in the fourth.
Yeah. You got a great performance on Saturday by your quarterback, who was named the Southern Conference Player of the Week, Jamal Adams, I believe it is. And Jalen Adams. What has he showed you? What's his future look like for you?
Well, number one is he's developing into a quarterback. He's been there one solid year right now. He's been there for 6 starts. He started these last 6 of the last 7 games. He played a little bit against Army. But what he's showing us right now is that he can make checks. He can run this offense. He's still figuring it out. We've got to run through this season to be able to, get all of the checks, get all the looks that he needs to. And that's why I think next year can be an exciting year, because he's been through the conference schedule already. He's been through a 7-game schedule where he's able to see all the different defenses that teams are going to throw out and make all the different checks, have complete game plan packages in there, make all the in-game adjustments. Those are things that he didn't have to worry about as a backup. He wasn't even worried about it last spring. He was just worried about getting an underneath center snap.
Mm-hmm.
Going into next year, you put a little bit more pieces around him, and you put a little bit more experience on the offense and defense. This is going to be a good football team.
Bulldogs at VMI this coming Saturday, 1:30. The kick time. Head coach of the Citadel, Brent Thompson, with us here on Sports Talk. And Coach, I'm curious about the FCS making the decision to play this spring as opposed to trying to play in the fall with most of the FBS programs. How has this spring gone for you? And is this something, obviously this year was an aberration, but is it something that to get to additional exposure, would the FCS consider being full-time spring, do you think?
Well, I think there's a couple of, I would say, coaches out there that would be a proponent of it. I would not be one. First of all, to me, football's always been played in the fall, and there's a reason for that. We overlap with other sports here. It would really tax us as an institution. We're a little bit of a smaller operation here, so we've got a track program going on right now. The track is around our practice field, so we're limited in space, and there's certain things that can be challenging about it. You talk to those 2 Montana teams; they're on an FCS call that I was on. It was 19 below up there when we were starting practice in January. That becomes difficult for some of the northern teams, the teams up in Maine and New Hampshire. I don't know that the exposure has been all that we thought it would be either. I know there's been a few games that have been televised that have been picked up by ESPN, but to be honest with you, I think people They turn their attention to baseball, number one, especially down here in the South.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is they get fatigued. You know, they're just done with it after the Super Bowl. They've had quite a bit. They need a little bit of recovery time, and that'll get them excited again for fall football. And then the last thing is I like playing those FBS games. I like playing those FBS games in the fall. I think it means a lot. I think it means a lot to our players. I mean, those guys, they may not have gotten recruited by the South Carolinas and the Clemsons of the world, but they get to play on the same field.
Yeah, ESPN has done you guys no favor with their lack of coverage of FCS football. They could have had a really golden opportunity here to, showcase you guys here in the spring, but for whatever reason, they chose not to.
No, I know it, and I thought it would catch on. You know, a couple things happened here in the spring as well. You just had scrambling. I mean, I don't know that the CAA, they didn't have a full week of scheduling. Somebody was not being able to play throughout that. I mean, that's a great conference. And then you run the risk of one of those games getting canceled, and then what do you do with the slot and everything else? We were fortunate in the Southern Conference. I mean, once everybody was in until Cat opted out, and then, of course, Wofford. But, we had a pretty good roll there for about 4 or 5 weeks.
All right, so today the NCAA made it official. They're going to have the one-time transfer rule without penalty, something, we've been living with here because of COVID. They've been allowing it. Now it's official moving forward. And I'd like to get your thoughts on that from the standpoint of course, you'll have the opportunity to grab some players out of the portal, but you'll also face the consequences of developing really good players who might maybe want to go play in the SEC and the ACC and feel like that's where their future belongs. And, you develop them and then they move on. I mean, how do you feel about that as a coach? Are you open-minded about it, or is there a part of you that's just torn over this thing, knowing that you could lose players that you develop, but then you can go find some players somewhere else?
Well, for me, it's unique, and that is we're not going to be able to take or pluck many out of the portal unless they're fifth-year players, just due to the nature of what we are. But as an FCS head coach, too, we all sat around and discussed it as Southern Conference head coaches about 2 years ago. And, we just felt like we were going to be the farm team for whoever wanted to just take one of our players at any moment. It opens a lot of people up to a lot of different programs up to tampering. There's many ways around it. You can go through high school coaches. You can go through the street agents, and you can find your way to a kid. You can go through Twitter anymore, find your way to a kid anymore. And that's tough. I mean, it's tough to be able to be pulling a young man like that, and I don't know that it's fair to him as well. But so I know, if you're at the FBS level, if you're at the upper tier of the FBS level, I would imagine that you would be all for it because you could probably pull a lot of guys and you could push your guys away. But the lower tier guy is the one that's going to get hurt. The FCS guys are the one that's going to get hurt. For us, we're fairly unique in both what we do as an institution and what we do as an offense and a defense. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue to do what we do, and that's take our players and develop them. By the time they get to their third or fourth year, they'll want to graduate because they are invested in what we have here, and we've got a great degree, and that they'll want to stay and play here.
Yeah, that's the thing. You hit a key word there, invest. And, I mean, as I see it on the big-time level, the big schools, the players, it doesn't seem like they want to invest anymore in a school. I mean, they're invested in themselves, and they're most interested in getting to the pro league as quickly as possible if they have that kind of talent. But as far as investing in a school, being proud of that school and getting my degree from that school and having that to live with the rest of my life, it seems like that side of it, that kind of investment is growing less and less now with these opportunities.
Well, it happens really when you come out of high school and you go to college, right? Everything that you want to do is just get that football scholarship. Once you get that football scholarship, now all of a sudden, now all I want to do is get to the pros. How do I find a way to make money in the pros? And it all boils down to money, right? It's kind of distorted our view of everything. In reality, very few of those guys go on to make it in the NFL. If they do, they make it a 1 or 2 years. And the NFL's tough and it's challenging, and not everybody has that opportunity to make it. You better, as I tell my guys, you better have something that you can fall back on. You better have a plan B, because even if you do play is you're not going to be able to live on all that money for the rest of your life. Very few can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Brent Thompson, head coach of the Citadel Bulldogs, with us for a few more moments here on Sports Talk. All right, Coach, you go to VMI this weekend. That's always a big game for the Citadel. You've owned that series over the years, but the last time you faced those guys, they actually won 34-21. Size up the Keydets for us, and what do you expect to see out of them on Saturday?
Well, I'll tell you, Scott's got a good football program up there, and he's a guy that has persevered through it. He's gone through some very, very tough seasons. He's had some down moments there. And we saw it last year. We saw him come on, and I think he ended up 4-4 in the league last year. And he's built this program, you know. I always thought he did a great job on defense. He found an identity on offense. They're an air raid. They're going to throw it around. He had a great quarterback, and unfortunately was injured. But they got a young man right now that's a redshirt freshman that stepped in and done a wonderful job. He's got a couple of good wide receivers there. I got to hand it to them. Last year, they came down and they took that trophy from us. They just absolutely were. They dominated us essentially as they made plays. They were making great catches. The young man made great throws out there. We couldn't do enough on offense to be able to keep scoring with them. So we've got to have that same mentality when we go up there. We need to go back up there and we need to take that trophy back from them. And that's it. It's going to be a great football game. I feel good about where we're at right now. But that's a very, very good football team up there. They've got a chance to win the league, and we've got a chance to knock them out. So that's the attitude that we're taking when we head up there.
Winning the Silver Shako still means something to you guys?
Absolutely. I mean, it probably means more now, now that it was gone. I mean, shoot, we had it for 12 straight years, and I always said I didn't want to be the coach that let that one go, and unfortunately I did. So, but now it's our turn to get that one back, and our players feel it. And we got to go get some hardware this weekend.
Well, good luck, and we appreciate you being with us. Great stuff from you as always. And you know what? Go on vacation. Put the cell phone down, turn off the laptop. Don't worry about recruits. Go on vacation. You know where you should go? I think you should go to Wild Dunes. You can stay. You go to the Citadel Beach House, right? Didn't they rebuild that after fire?
Definitely do that.
Yeah, go to the Citadel Beach House and chill out. Yeah.
Phil, I mean, I love football, but having these 2 seasons, I mean, this is a lot of football. I'll be ready for a little bit of a break next. Give me about 3 or 4 days, and I'll be ready to go again.
Well, I hope that come August, we'll be back to normal, and we'll have the Citadel preseason golf tournament down there. We'll see you hacking it around a little bit at Patriots Point or somewhere else, and look forward to being with you again next season.
Absolutely, Phil. Man, I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Coach. Good talking to you.
All right, buddy.
All right, take care. Brent Thompson at the Citadel, and be great for them, Bergie, if they can get a win on Saturday against a really good VMI team. That team is.
You wouldn't have said that about VMI a couple of years ago, but I thought Coach brought up a terrific point about not wanting to lose the trophy, and now it means something. It reminds me of the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup was never important until the United States lost to Europe.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it becomes one of the best events, every 2 years. Same thing I think here. Citadel, I hate to say took it for granted, but you don't realize what you have until it's gone. And I would imagine they're going to go up there and they're playing probably their best football in a while right now. So that ought to be a dandy football game. I hate that, outside of being down in Charleston to listen, probably won't have an opportunity unless you can travel up to VMI to see it.
That's right. I would think that'd be the only place to get it. Well, all these games are being streamed. You can watch it on your computer, ESPN Plus or something like that. But as far as over the air television, no, there's been none of that going on for these FCS teams, which is surprising. It's been a great. I would have thought ESPN would have found a window to have like a game of the week or something like that for these FCS teams since they're playing this spring. They could have had some really good contests on there.
I thought so, and the opportunity to showcase some players that maybe will be playing in the NFL and down the road that fans wouldn't normally get to see when they play in the fall. But as we joked yesterday, they've done a nice job of promoting Deion Sanders and his program down to Jackson State. But outside of that, you really haven't seen a whole lot of FCS football. And I think people sort of don't take it for the value that it is. If you go watch Wofford or Furman or VMI, Citadel and Charleston Southern and all the FCS, South Carolina State, all the teams that we have, there's some really quality football at that level that unfortunately this would have been the time for them to actually get some publicity. And I think the national media dropped the ball there.
No question about it. Let's go to Ray in Columbia. We've got recruiting coming up. Mark Peeler, the AD at Erskine, our Flying Fleet report wraps up our final Flying Fleet report of the spring. We wrap it up with the AD, Mark Peeler, coming up at the bottom of the hour. Recruiting coming up. Ray in Columbia, good to have you with us tonight here on Sports Talk. How are you?
Doing good, Phil. Doing good. Just want to call on the transfer portal.
Yep.
To me, in basketball, it's kind of become like the old JC in college football, where you never want to build a program on all junior college players, but you could take a few here and there for positions you need to help at. But I think in Frank Martin in South Carolina, if you look at it, Phil, really since that Final Four run, I know we've had a couple. We've had some good recruits with like Lawson and Bryant. But I've been amazed of how many players he's had to rely on through the portal as opposed to recruiting. And, I mean, we think about how many shooting guards we've had come and go from the portal. So, to me, this coming year is just nothing new. It's just the fact we can talk about how COVID, was affecting everybody else. But I think it's just kind of business as usual over at our basketball program with using all these players from the portal.
Well, you're right that he has used the portal over his time at South Carolina, but it's usually been like one here, one there. They needed to fill a particular spot, and they'd find a transfer. This is going to be a complete, well, not a complete makeover, but about a 50% makeover of the roster when you think about it. And again, they're not finished yet, I don't believe, with players exiting, and they'll fill those spots with people out of the portal.
And who knows, maybe Frank can do it better this way, but I still think it comes down to just, old school hard work. You got to make those relationships with the high school coaches and the AAU coaches. I just don't think you can build a program on, transfer players. And I think we've relied a little more than most schools on that, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. And it'll be interesting to see what occurs tomorrow at his press conference.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be there, right, Phil?
Yeah, we'll be there. It's going to be, of course, on Zoom. It's going to be at the witching hour of 9 a.m., but we'll see if we can be there on time for that. I was not happy to hear about the time change.
That doesn't make sense. I guess you have to get up at 6 o'clock and get the coffee in you or whatever you do.
Well, go get my 10 miles in and lift my weights and do everything I do to prepare for the day. Yes, I have to just do it earlier.
There you go. You're kind of like the Army when they say we do more for 9 a.m. than most people do all day. But
that's right.
Anyway, that'd be interesting to hear you tomorrow, Phil.
Thank you, man. And thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to mention that we will have the comments of Frank Martin on Sports Talk tomorrow night as he's going to meet with the media for the first time since all this stuff went on with him at the end of the season. And we'll have that for you here on Sports Talk tomorrow night. We'll be back after the break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 the.
Good, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly, aren't I? Perfect. My name.
3 tonight. Tomorrow, cooler and cloudier. Mostly cloudy with a high of just 75. For Friday, 72 with a mix of sunshine and clouds. Mostly cloudy and 70 on Saturday. Sunday is nicer with 76 a high and a mix of sun and clouds. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Hello, Midlands. It's Jay here with the Melting Pot. Here's a few questions we get when people call us. Do we serve only chocolate? No, we serve 4 courses, but you can get just chocolate or 4 courses of chocolate. No, you don't have to sit at a big table with strangers around you, but you can sit at a big table with friends around you. You just need to bring the friends with you. We also specialize in having lots of private booths with real walls between them, so you won't feel like a fish in a plexiglass tank. Come and see us at the Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A defense expert says George Floyd died from a sudden heart rhythm problem due to his heart disease while being restrained by police officers, not because former officer Derek Chauvin kept his knee on Floyd's neck. Dr. David Fowler is former chief medical examiner for the state of Maryland. He testified Wednesday that the fentanyl and methamphetamine in Floyd's system and potential carbon monoxide poisoning from exposure to vehicle exhaust also were contributing factors. Earlier today, the judge in Chauvin's murder trial denied a defense motion to acquit the former police officer. A mixed day on Wall Street as the Dow was up by 53 points to 33,730. The Nasdaq, however, dropped 138 points. The S&P 500 lower by 16. Oil up to 63.15 a barrel. This is SRN News.
One thing you hear on The Point all day long, it's be intentional. You hear it from our local and national hosts, and I practice what I preach. So when it comes to my biggest financial investment, my home, well, I'm pretty intentional. I had Allstate Seamless Gutter come out, and they fixed me up. Think about this. You spend between, $800, $1,500 on gutters for your house. That's an intentional investment. It protects your home against so many things that can cost thousands and thousands of dollars later on. Things like mold damage or foundation repairs. And while we're talking about being intentional, when Doug and his team came out, did the job on my home, well, we partnered up to help save you some money. If you call 833-5-GUTTER, tell them you want that point discount, that's 40% off your gutters. Make an intentional decision about your home. Protect your biggest financial investment. They do great work. And I won't endorse Allstate Seamless Gutter if I didn't have them come out and do the work on my own home. Peace of mind and new gutters at a great price. That's being intentional. Allstate Seamless Gutter, 833-5-GUTTER. That's 833-5-GUTTER.
Are you ready to grow your business? Tune in at 9 a.m. on Monday mornings to The Brainstorm with Matt and Mike. As founders of Splash Omni Media, we've helped thousands of business executives over the last decade. Get tips to win big. The Brainstorm, 9 a.m. on Monday mornings.
Hey, honey, I meant to ask you, how was your delivery from True Pharmacy?
I am loving True Pharmacy. They made the transfer process so easy. They delivered my prescriptions the same day for the same price, all without the long wait.
Wow, that is truly amazing.
And when their technician dropped off my prescription, he told me about some of their other services.
Oh, yeah, I saw that they also do COVID testing and immunizations on site.
Same-day deliveries, same price, and fast, friendly service. I think we found our True Pharmacy home.
True Pharmacy on Divine Street in West Columbia. Find us at truerxsc.com.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Uiagalelei goes shotgun ETN to his left-hand side. And they go play action, look into the end zone. Touchdown, Davis Allen.
Hey, Tiger fans, it's time to reserve your 2021 Clemson football season tickets and come back home to Clemson. For details and more information, please visit ClemsonTigers.com/football tickets. The season ticket request deadline is April 30th, so be sure and act soon and see your Tigers in the Valley this fall. Come back home to Clemson.
The only afternoon local talk radio in Columbia is the Afternoon Drive with Kev. It's all about you. It's your phone calls. It's my challenging topics. All the news, traffic, and weather weekdays, 4 p.m. on The Point.
The Point.
We are back with you here on Sports Talk. Phil Kornbluth, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Going to get to Mark Peeler from Erskine just a moment. Want to update a couple of baseball scores that we've been watching. Jacksonville leading the Citadel 2-0. Bottom of the seventh. Wilmington 2-0 over Coastal Carolina. Coastal just scored 2. Make that 2-2. Top of the fifth, Coastal and Wilmington. And Miami has beaten Florida Gulf Coast 3-2. It's now Arkansas 26 and Pine Bluff 1. Wow. 26. An 11-run fifth inning, a 7-run third inning. And it's 26. Well, I think I'd go ahead and just call that one off if, 20-run rule in play in this one. I think the 20-run rule should be used here. Let's welcome in Erskine Athletics Director Mark Peeler to Sports Talk. We wrap up our series with the Flying Fleet Report. Great having all the coaches on with us throughout the spring. It's been an active spring, Mark, with football now part of what you're doing, but all your other sports teams in the spring carrying things on, your volleyball teams, for example, baseball team, has been a very active and a good spring for you guys.
It has. It has been crazy, and but
it's also been really, it's been really fun. Our baseball teams and softball teams are both having really good seasons. And, to put that along and track and field's done really, really well this spring as well. So to do all that while we're also playing our first football season has been, it's been just a really cool spring. We're going to take a break when we get to May and kind of recuperate. But other than that, it's been great.
No doubt about it. Has football been everything you thought and hoped it would be?
I think it's just been the spring has been so unique. Trying to first of all, from our perspective as a young team and the growing up process, that's made it unique. Playing in the spring, trying to get people interested in coming out and watching spring football games has been a little different. So yeah. I don't know that it could have gone any better. I think when you're playing with all freshmen, we knew the wins weren't going to come very easy, and probably there weren't going to be many of them. But yeah, I think we look at this as a really, really positive experience so far.
What's the next step with the program? What will you try and add, tweak between now and when you get back at it in August?
Well, I think the thing that we have to try to focus on is trying to find a conference to play in. Right now, we're playing as an independent, and our fall schedule looks like an independent. We have 11 games scheduled against schools from all over the Southeast, and we would like to try to figure out some kind of conference affiliation. So I hope in the next 4 or 5 months we'll at least be able to begin to enter into some talks with some leagues that might have us on a permanent basis, so that we could have some kind of idea about scheduling over the next 2 or 3 years.
South Atlantic Conference an option?
Hey, there's a bunch of Division II conferences out there. So obviously regionally, that's one that would appeal to us. But we'll answer all the calls right now, Phil.
You're not turning away any calls at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So as the spring sports start to wind to a close, what are you looking at here team-wise, like teams are going to advance in postseason, maybe get into the national tournaments? What are you looking at?
Well, we still feel like baseball has a chance to grab the number 1 seed. We play Mount Olive this weekend, and Mount Olive's 5th in Division II in the nation. We feel like if we could win 3 out of 4 against them, we'd have a pretty good chance of getting the at least the 1st or 2nd seed in the conference championship. Softball's really kind of the same way. They're battling right now with a chance to be the top seed in a tournament. So, both those teams had a chance to make postseason with the NCAA, but it'll take some good finishes. And our women's tennis team is playing Mount Olive this Friday. Mount Olive's undefeated, and I think they're 12-0. And so again, we're looking at 3 teams probably that have right now potentially opportunities to move on to play in the national tournaments this spring.
Yeah, your women's tennis team has won 7 straight matches.
Yeah, they really have. We obviously dominated Conference Carolinas for 12 years, winning 12 straight conference championships, and then have had probably 2 or 3 fairly down years. So it's nice to be back, and they're definitely going to finish in the top 3 or 4 in the conference, if not the top spot. So it's nice to see them back where we were for so long.
Well, it's been a pleasure for us to hook up with you guys and partner up with the Flying Fleet Report. It's been a lot of fun digging into the sports and the sports history at a proud place like Erskine, which, you guys have been playing various forms of ball for a long, long time. It's good to have football back, and we look forward to getting with you guys again in the fall and covering football and your other fall sports and doing some more good stuff with you. So thank you for letting us be a part of what you guys are doing. It's been a great ride for us.
Well, we appreciate it, Phil, as well. We really want we're excited, obviously, about the start of football again at Erskine. And we want to get the word out there Erskine Athletics is a good destination for recruits and a good destination for fans interested in following the fleet. So thank y'all a ton for what you've done for us.
Been a pleasure. Look forward to being in touch and follow you guys on Twitter and the success of your team. So thank you, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Phil.
You too, sir. Mark Peeler, AD at Erskine. Hope you've enjoyed our Flying Fleet reports. I know that, you're fans of some other schools and you're like, but this is an interesting story because they've cranked up football for the first time in 50-something years. And what that's done, Chris, too, let's face it, football brings a lot of attention to your school, to your campus that you otherwise don't get.
Well, you're talking about two universities in our state that have recently started football programs, with Limestone being the other. And ironically, those two are playing this weekend to wrap up their seasons. But you asked him the question that I was curious about when you talked about conference affiliation, and with the South Atlantic Conference, Newberry College, and those guys make sense for them. I think that is a perfect fit. Now, the question that Mark's going to have to probably address is it a full move for them? Because we're seeing, especially at the Division II level, you'll get programs that may take the Notre Dame approach, if you will, and join for football, but leave their other sports in another league. And I'd be curious if Erskine has such a good relationship with Conference Carolinas that they don't want to ruin that and maybe just find a home just for their football program, or would they be in a position with football now to full-fledged make a move out of Conference Carolinas, say to the South Atlantic Conference or some other football playing conference around the Southeast?
All right, we thank Mark Peeler for being with us. After the break, we're going to give you, that's right, we've held you hostage to this point in the night. Going to give you the Seawells recruiting report. Got a lot of good stuff for you there. And we'll have time to finish up with some phone calls. 888-898-2525, the number. We appreciate your calls. Always love hearing from you. And we'll be back with that in a moment right here on Sports Talk. Don't go away.
The lady in black doesn't age. She just gets tougher. And Throwback Weekend is when she likes to remind all the friends, families, drivers, and dreamers just how they got here. Business up front and parties in the back. Over 70 years of history held together with one famous black stripe. Too tough to tame? I guess you'll have to find out. Darlington Throwback Weekend, May 7th through 9th. Get your tickets at darlingtonraceway.com.
South Carolina is just right.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology at Florence Darlington Technical College specializes in sophisticated manufacturing services and workforce development training. The SIMT offers rapid prototyping, additive manufacturing, advanced machining, and business incubation services to clients from across the state and nation, plus social media listening services and rentals of conferencing and training spaces. The SIMT also houses an 800-seat auditorium, a conference center that can seat more than 1,200 for dinner or a luncheon, and numerous classroom spaces with state-of-the-art presentation technologies. Visit our website at simt.com or call 866-304-7468 for more information. The SIMT, technology to grow your business.
Welcome to Tiny Stories. Today we're with Sonia, who recently won $500 on a scratch-off.
I am such a loser.
I'm so confused.
Ever been to a family reunion?
Not if I can help it.
My dad's family rents a beach house every year. I've always said I can't afford to go.
Oh, I am so sorry.
I'm assigned a sleeping bag on the porch with cousins I've never met.
Been there. Even got the T-shirt.
You may be Cousin Tina.
No. You know what? That's it for the South Carolina Education Lottery. Tell your story at tellyourtinystory.com.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
Looking for the perfect golf retreat? Championship courses at an affordable rate? Look at Clark's Inn and Restaurant in Santee, South Carolina, located minutes from 3 championship courses. Clark's Inn offers customized, affordable golf packages, relaxing rooms, and great food. Visit clarksinnandrestaurant.com to plan your golf retreat. ClarksonandRestaurant.com. Easy to find, hard to leave.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut of Sports Talk here with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. What words of wisdom do you have for those hitting the water this summer?
Phil, collisions can be prevented easily if every vessel operator fulfills three major responsibilities. One, practice good seamanship. It's the responsibility of every boat or PWC operator to take all necessary action to avoid a collision. Two, keep a proper lookout. Failing to keep a sharp lookout is the most common cause of boating collisions. And finally, maintain a safe speed. Remember, boat safe, boat smart.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit MainCourseSC.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia. You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
All right, time for the recruiting reports. Better late than never. Brought to you by Seawells. I am probably going to hit up Seawells tomorrow for lunch. Anybody want to join me? I'm not paying for it for you, but if you want to go on your own, it's not expensive at all. And, I mean, it's well worth it. I'm thinking about going over there tomorrow and enjoying myself. A meat and three, great vegetables, delicious meats, wonderful desserts, banana pudding, Jell-O. And what I like, too, is you sit down, you know what they do? They bring you a pitcher of tea. You don't have to ask for it. They just bring you a pitcher of tea. And everything is individualized. It's nice, safe, and clean, following all the DHEC regulations. So if you're thinking about lunch tomorrow, think about Seawells out of the fairgrounds and 11 to 2 for the luncheon buffet. And, of course, you got a big event coming up. You need catering at its finest. It's Seawells at 803-771-7385. Let Seawells help make your event a memorable experience at SeawellsCateringSC.com. So, in recruiting tonight, we have the following for you. Talked to tight end Jaleel Skinner of Greer, who got away from it all last week with a spring break trip to Lake Marion. He didn't play golf, he told me. So he'll get back into the recruiting stuff here right about now, and he's starting to think about official visits this summer and fall. He told us Arizona State, Oregon, Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida State are some of the places he's looking at. In fact, he wants to go and schedule Florida State the weekend of the Notre Dame game. And he's had a short list of Clemson, Florida, Miami, Georgia, Auburn, Virginia Tech, Tennessee, Michigan, Oregon, Florida State, LSU, and Arizona State, and Texas, and Oklahoma. He did not make it to Clemson spring game because he had a track meet. He did watch it on television. He said he really liked it, loved what they were doing with their tempo, loved some of the new faces out there, he said, loved how they're catching the football, and he enjoyed how Tony Elliott is working the tight ends and calling the plays. He talked with Elliott last week, and he was just checking in. USC has not been a strong factor since the coaching change, though he said he received some text messages from Shane Beamer last week. Clemson, Florida, Florida State, Texas, and Oklahoma, he said, are the schools most consistent with their contact. He doesn't expect to need to take an official visit to Clemson. It's so close down I-85. He does plan to be at the Elite Retreat on the weekend of June 11th. No clear favorite. He wants to take some officials and unofficial visits because that was not something he's been able to do, but he could pull as he said, the trigger on a commitment anytime when he goes out on the road for those visits. USC's in the top 3 with Addison Copeland, wide receiver from Buffalo, along with Notre Dame and Rutgers. He was once committed to Rutgers. USC's in the top 7 with linebacker Stone Blanton. You know this guy's a baller with the first name Stone. 6'2", 220. So I guess, like, if he levels you, if you're a running back, Bergie, and you got stoned. Officer, don't arrest me, but I just got stoned.
I like it.
Anyway, He's been at Mississippi State baseball commitment, but is looking around at football options. Texas A&M, Oregon, Stanford, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Louisville also in his top 7. USC offered 2023 receiver Noah Rogers, 6'2", 180, of Rolesville, North Carolina. He also has North Carolina, Penn State, West Virginia, and NC State. Basketball, as we mentioned at the outset, 6'4", James Reese V, an AC Floor grad. I wonder if he's related to the Reeses out there in Lower Richland area, because he's from Eastover. He lists Eastover as his hometown, Pokey Reese and all those folks out there. So now this will be his 4th stop. He was at Buffalo and then Odessa Junior College and then North Texas the last 2 seasons. Last season, he averaged 11 points and 4 rebounds a game, shot 41% from the floor, 34% from 3, 77% from the line. The Mean Green played in the tournament, and he scored 13 in the upset of Purdue and 10 in the loss to Villanova. His season high in scoring was 21 in their opening game of the season. He joins guards Chico Carter Jr. and Eric Stevenson, and forward A.J. Wilson as transfers to the Gamecocks at this point. And we expect perhaps more, and we expect perhaps more departures. Oh, and the College of Charleston has picked up a transfer out of the Portal John. And he is from Bucknell. 6'6", John Meeks, committed to the College of Charleston from per John Rothstein. 25 points and 7 rebounds per game, but only played 6 games last season. Okay? Is that everything? Oh, Matthew Hurt. Is that right? Matthew Hurt from Duke. He declared for the draft. Am I correct on this? Everybody nodding their heads? Okay.
Yes, he declared for the draft today. It was questionable whether he was going to return. All signs pointed until today that he would return for another season, but he has decided to, at the very least, test the waters in the NBA draft.
I want to thank our new intern here, Robert McCrary. Oh, there's that last name again. Robert McCrary has joined us. He is a student at Spring Valley High School, right? Going to be a senior. Yeah, good to have Robert with us, but I have to say the name McCrary again, and I thought I had rid myself of that. Have to call you Armac.
Armac, yeah.
Armac. So I'm big on nicknames around here. Berkey, how you like your nickname?
I can get used to that. I was telling you earlier, I never had a nickname growing up. Most of my friends in junior high and high school just called me by my last name. So shortening it a little bit to Bergie, I can deal with it.
Bergie, not Berkey, but Bergie.
Yeah,
I knew
Bergie.
a Berkey. I knew a Berkey growing up, but you're a Bergie.
I would be a Bergie.
Bergie.
That's correct.
Yeah, I always got to come up with something. So that's good. I think that's a good fit. I mean, Smitty liked his nickname, Smitty, but he came with that nickname. I didn't apply that nickname to him. Created.
I would imagine he probably got that in Little League Baseball.
Probably
would
so.
be my guess.
Probably so. My favorite one that I've created here recently, well, of course, Pastor of Pain. I came up with that for Corey Miller, the Pastor of Pain. And Rick Sanford became Da Rick. Da Rick, as in Dr. Rick, Da Rick. Yeah. All right, quickly, back to the phones. 888-898-2525 is our number. I have lost track of who we have online. So who you got, Pat? Pat's got to find out who's online. I'll tell you the Braves are losing again, 1-0 to Miami as they play in the going to the third, 1-0 Miami. So Braves are losing again. See if they can rally from that. In the meantime, we go to
we're going to Tar Hizzle.
Oh, Tar Hizzle. It's been a while. The sizzle from Tar Hizzle in Saluda. What's up, Tar Hizzle?
What's going on, man? I will say this: be careful with those nicknames. As long as he don't name you, you'll probably be okay. My nickname came from the Pastor of Pain. Thank God.
He gave you the Pastor of Pain. Gave you the name Tar Hizzle.
He did. He did. That was not my idea, but he gave it to me. I'm fine with that.
That's a good name, man. Well, you're a Tar Heel fan, and he probably figured that you were sizzling as a Tar Heel fan, so you became Tar Hizzle.
That was back when we had John Bunting, so he knew I was sizzling every day.
Oh, but how you feel about Hubert Davis?
I mean, I hope he does well. I mean, obviously he's got the keys to a Ferrari, in my opinion, basketball-wise. hopefully he does well. I love it, but is he my first choice? I mean, I look at it as the only other schools I think that can compare to North Carolina as far as best coaching jobs in the country is Kentucky and Duke, and they wouldn't have hired him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not ecstatic, but I hope he does well, and I hope he does better than Doherty did. But fingers crossed. I mean, he wasn't my first pick. I'd have been happy with a few or some folks that have done very well, and I think we could have pulled him because who we are. But we'll see. Hopefully he does well.
So to you, obviously, to the power brokers there, staying within the family, which is what North Carolina has done with every hire since Dean Smith, was very important to them. You would have been okay going outside the family?
I would have been okay going outside the family, and I'd have been okay with going. In my opinion, I think Phil Ford should have got offered once before Roy Williams got offered twice. I know he had some issues, but I'm not so sure those issues are what kept him from being a coach. It's some other things, but that's just my opinion. I like Phil. I think Phil, had he not been there, Doherty would have destructed way before, he did.
Mm-hmm.
But Phil was a big reason we got Ronald Curry and some of the other folks that were there. And I think Phil Ford's great. I know he had some, some DUIs, what have you, but in my opinion, he has my utmost respect as a basketball coach and a person.
Sure.
But hopefully, fingers crossed. Like I said, fingers crossed.
Sure.
But I had two quick questions for you. Well, one shout out to, obviously, my little girl goes to Georgia, and they're out in Texas for the national championship run for equestrian for Georgia, and we're heading out tomorrow. So fingers crossed they can get through TCU, because if not, I won't get to see any of my Georgia girls ride. So fingers crossed they get to Friday so I can see them Friday and Saturday.
Super.
But with that being said, I had a question. I saw where Jadeveon is going to Cleveland, which I think Cleveland is going to be an up-and-coming team next year. I'm excited about where they might go. But my question is that a good thing or a bad thing? I know it's a $10 million contract, so is that good or about average? Because, I mean, obviously when he came out in the draft, we were thinking he was going to change the position a lot like the other greats. Is this good that he's been with 4 teams in 4 years? And just want to hear your thoughts on where he's at and what he's doing. And does he need to come in and make an impact with Cleveland?
Yeah. But listen, good luck with the equestrian stuff with your daughter. I know that's exciting for you, and appreciate your comments. So Clowney to the Browns, the Browns are they've made a lot of progress in the last year. I mean, they've become a quality playoff contending team. And, if he's healthy to go along with the other good young defensive players on that team, Berge, he can do extremely well. But the thing with Clowney is you just don't know if you can get 16, now 17 games out of him because his knees have been so iffy.
It's been bad in terms of injuries. The one thing he'll be able to do is he can stop the run. He hasn't had the sack numbers, but he has been pretty good against the run.
All right, we'll have to pick up on this question tomorrow night, as we will. Plus, Chad Holbrook will join us live. We'll see you tomorrow night here on Sports Talk.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. Press that button, home stew.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com.